What if I told you that changing your entire life wasn't about some massive, heroic effort? What if it was about a habit so small, so tiny, it's almost laughably easy? Well, today we're diving into James Clear's Atomic Habits to find out exactly how those tiny 1% changes can lead to absolutely remarkable results.
So let's be honest. Have you ever set a huge New Year's resolution full of motivation only to watch it completely fizzle out by, say, February? Yeah, if you're nodding along, you are definitely not alone. A staggering 92% of all goals end in failure.
But here's the thing. That failure, it's probably not about you being lazy or lacking motivation. Nope. It's about using the wrong strategy. We're all taught to go big or go home, right? But that approach, it's fundamentally flawed, and it sets us up for failure from the get-go.
See, our whole culture is obsessed with this idea of the overnight success story, the quantum leap. But that's a myth. It's a great deception, really. It makes us expect our progress to be this dramatic, linear thing, and when it isn't, which it never is, we get discouraged, and we quit. So what's the alternative? Well, it's the surprisingly simple power of getting just 1% better every single day. I know, it sounds insignificant, right? Almost trivial, but its long-term effect is absolutely incredible. And there's no better example of this than the wild transformation of the British cycling team. So get this, back in 2003, British cycling was basically a joke. They had gone over 100 years without a single Tour de France win. But then they hired a guy named Dave Brailsford. His whole philosophy was this idea of the aggregation of marginal gains, which led to just total domination. So how on earth did they do it? Well, Brailsford's team improved basically everything by just 1%. I mean, they tested different massage gels, they taught riders the right way to wash their hands to avoid getting sick, and they even painted the inside of the team truck white, just so they could spot tiny bits of dust that might affect the bikes. Now, individually, these things seem minor, almost silly, right? But together, they compounded into victory after victory. Okay, that's a great story, but what does getting 1% better every day actually look like for you and me? It sounds so small, but the math behind it reveals its incredible, mind-blowing power. Now, if you get just 1% better each day for 1 year, you're not going to be 365% better. No, thanks to the magic of compounding, you'll be nearly 38 times better than when you started. That's not a typo. 38 times. And this is where it gets really important because this compounding effect is a double-edged sword. Your daily habits are either working for you or against you. A tiny 1% gain leads to that massive 37x improvement, but a tiny 1% decline, skipping that one small habit, it sends you spiraling all the way down to nearly zero. There is no standing still. Okay, so if the math is that powerful, why isn't everyone doing this? Why do so many of us quit? Well, it's because in the beginning, progress is almost invisible. And this frustrating period is what James Clear calls the valley of disappointment. You know this feeling, right? It's that phase where you're putting in all the work, you're going to the gym, you're eating right, but you're just not seeing the results you expected. It feels pointless. But what's really happening is you're building up all this latent potential, just waiting to burst through. Clear has this perfect analogy for it. Imagine you have an ice cube in a cold room. You start raising the temperature from 28 degrees. You're putting in energy, you're doing the work, but nothing's happening. It's still just a block of ice. You keep going 29, 30, 31 degrees, and visually the result is exactly the same. It's still ice. This right here is the valley of disappointment. This is the moment where most people give up because they think their effort is completely wasted. But then you hit 32 degrees, and boom, a breakthrough. The ice starts to melt. Now that final 1 degree change didn't do all the work on its own, it just unlocked all the work that came before it. And your habits? They work the exact same way. So, the big question is, how do we push through that valley long enough to get to the breakthrough? Well, this is where James Clear gives us an incredibly practical framework, the 4 laws of behavior change. If you can understand these, you can build pretty much any habit you want. These are the levers that control everything we do. To build a good habit, you just follow these 4 simple laws. And get this, to break a bad habit, you just invert them. Let's take a quick look at how it works. First up, make it obvious. Your environment is key. Want to drink more water? Don't hide the bottle in the fridge.
Put it right on your desk where you can't miss it. Want to break a bad habit like mindlessly scrolling? Make the cue invisible. Put your phone in another room. Simple, right? Second law, make it attractive. You gotta hack your brain's reward system. You do this by pairing something you want to do with something you need to do. It's called temptation bundling. So for instance, you only let yourself watch your favorite Netflix show while you're on the treadmill. Number 3, and this one's a game changer, make it easy. We don't need more willpower, we just need easier habits. Use the 2-minute rule. A new habit has to take less than 2 minutes to do. So the goal isn't to go for a 30-minute run. The goal is to put on my running shoes. That's it. You master the art of just showing up. And finally, make it satisfying. Here's the problem. The reward for good habits is often delayed, but our brains, they want rewards now. So you have to create one. The easiest way is a habit tracker. Just marking a big X on a calendar gives you a little hit of satisfaction and creates a visual streak you won't want to break. But here's the thing, all 4 of those laws, they all serve a much deeper purpose. And this, for me, is the most profound idea in the entire book. True, lasting change isn't about what you achieve, it's about who you become. Most of us approach habits with a focus on the outcome. I want to write a book. But the real fundamental shift is to focus on your identity. I am a writer. See the difference? The goal isn't just to run a marathon, it's to become a runner. This simple change makes your habits feel like a natural part of who you are, not some chore you have to do. James Clear puts it perfectly with this quote. Every single time you go to the gym, you're casting a vote for being a fit person. Every time you write even one sentence, you're casting a vote for being a writer. These small actions, they're the evidence that slowly but surely builds your new identity. Look, the person you are today is really just the sum of all your past habits. But your future, that's going to be the sum of the habits you start right now. So the question is really simple. With your very next action, what kind of person are you going to vote to become?